Welcome to ThinkTech on OC16, Hawaii's weekly newscast on things that matter to tech and to Hawaii. I'm Jay Fidell.
And I'm Elise Anderson.
There's so much happening in Hawaii. Sometimes things happen under the radar and we don't hear much about them. But ThinkTech can take you there.
Our show this time takes us to Kawainui Marsh, one of Oahu's 5 government-managed wetland areas, to discover the little-known cultural and biological importance of this area.
Kawainui Marsh is critical to the production and protection of the natural resources we depend on for our survival, not the least of which is fresh water.
Water is our most precious resource, and the only way to preserve it is to protect and restore our native landscapes. Wetlands also provide crucial habitats for our native water birds.
ThinkTech Sustainable Hawaii talk show host Kirsten Turner went to Kawainui Marsh last week to bring us on-the-ground insights about the value of this major wetland and the issues surrounding its maintenance and protection.
She spoke with one of the key community caretakers of the area, Kaimi Scudder, a lifetime volunteer for AhahuiMalama I Lokahi, which is a community-based organization involved for decades with restoring the wetland and providing recreational access to the public.
I work with AhahuiMalama I Lokahi. It is a Hawaiian conservation organization. We've been in Kawainui since 1998. Chuck Burrows, the former president, was one of the first persons out here doing research and conservation work. And I'm the field coordinator right now. We have 2 sites that we are the curators for at Ulupo Heiau, where we share the responsibility with the Kailua Hawaiian Civic Club. And we also have Napohaku Ohawahini, which is behind me. It's along Kapa'a Quarry Road, where we're doing a native forest restoration project. We have website ahahui.net, and the ahahui.me is our blog, so I maintain that one, so that's where our announcements are. We have a small crew of volunteers, and we have service projects on 2nd and 3rd Saturdays, so we can get a turnout of 50, 60 people at a time, like at Ulupo we can. At Napohaku it's smaller, but it's a very sensitive area over there now. In 2005, there was a designation for Kawainui Ramsar Wetland of International Importance, and it was because of the cultural uses of the wetland and not specifically for the natural resources that were found here. So it's a state and on the Federal Register of Historic Places, so it's a very significant site. That's why people want to come here and check it out. Napohaku Ohawahini is the many stones of Hawahini, who is the guardian mo'o of Kawainui, and there's even a stone there that has the image of the face of a mo'o on it. Heiau over here on the right side, and there's another heiau up in Manoa that's still intact. It's just covered with hau, so it's protected.
Kirsten also engaged Kaleio Wong, a devoted Native Hawaiian volunteer with Hika'alani and Kailua Hawaiian civic clubs. Kaleio detailed the cultural importance of the Kawainui Marsh, both past and present.
Yeah, I work for a nonprofit organization called Hika'alani. We do a lot of things, but primarily my position is to connect the community back to Kawainui. And we do this in various ways through, cultural connections, spiritual connections, nutritional connections through feeding ourselves, as we once have in these areas for, over 1,000 years. This area of Kawainui once was about a 500-acre fish pond that was capable of producing upwards of, some say, 500,000 pounds of fish a year, with an estimate of 1,000 pounds of fish per acre per year. That's a lot of food that this area was able to provide to the community, to this ahupua'a of Kailua, as well as the surrounding ahupua'a as well. On the banks of Kawainui were many lo'i, terraced taro patches that were spring-fed, that were able to again, produce a lot of food to feed a lot of people in this area. So that's what our primarily goal is with my position at Ulupo is just to connect the community back to the land, to the area of Ulupo and to Kawainui as a large resource, really a food basin for our community and the surrounding communities. And we work really closely with the Kailua Hawaiian Civic Club as well as the AhahuiMalama Lokahi. I would estimate, a pretty good estimate of last year was upwards of 1,000 people who came down just to the Ulupo side alone, and not even coming across to the Napuhaku side or working with Ati. Just to the Ulupo area, the Ili of Kukanono, probably about 1,000 people working with us. If we look back to what this area was, going to primary source materials such as the mo'olelo, the story of Makalei that exists right here in Kawainui, up in Maunawili and in Waimanalo. It really provides a lot of knowledge on how to manage this area, how to manage the people of Kailua, the resources of Kailua, and it often says that really a primary focus of this story is everybody coming together to work and care for this fish pond, this area of Kawainui. It wasn't just the people of Kailua, but it was the surrounding ahupua'a as well, of Waimanalo, of He'eia, of Kane'ohe. It's a very important place that, you know, we look at 500,000 pounds of fish a year. That's just coming out of this fish pond here. That's not even talking about getting any fish out of the ocean. So definitely very central to this area, this district of Ko'olaupoku. We always try to emphasize the importance of traditional knowledge being applied today. It's not just something that happened in the past, but if we look at this area being managed as a fish pond, and again, all of that food being produced here, that was able to feed a lot of people. And we look at the state of what Kawainui is in now, with all of these invasive and alien plant and aquatic species. We're now producing 0 pounds of fish a year coming out of Kawainui. That our diet is more dependent on what the buyers are stocking on their shelves than what the land is able to provide for us, as it has done for hundreds, over 1,000 years, as what the archaeology tells us.
We, the taxpayers of Hawaii, are also involved in the stewardship of Kawainui Marsh through the dedicated work of the State Department of Land and Natural Resources.
Kirsten interviewed the devoted DLNR Wetlands Coordinator, Ati-Jeffers Fabro, to find out more about the central role Kawainui Marsh plays in Oahu's ecosystem and the challenges of maintaining it for our benefit.
Welcome to the interior of Kawainui Marsh. Kind of want to orient you to where you are right now, because oftentimes people don't have this perspective. To my right is we're pointing towards the Ko'olaus, and the Pali Highway, Kalaniana Ole, is going from south to north. And then behind us would be that tree line shows kind of where Kapa'a Quarry Road is located. So that's another boundary that we have. And then down to the far side is Mokapu Boulevard, going once again north or south to north. And so that is pretty much what borders Kawainui Marsh. One of the main functions of Kawainui right now is a flood basin. You know, we have water coming down from the mountains, and it all channels in here. But as Kaleio said earlier, you know, this was a major food production area, but the water has changed dramatically. When they built the Maunawili ditch to bring water over to Waimanalo for agriculture, that took a lot of water out of Kawainui. A lot of construction happened along the way, the building of the pali and so forth. A lot of sedimentation. Before there was no wastewater treatment plant, wastewater used to flow right into Kawainui. So an assortment of human-induced changes has really degraded the function of the marsh itself. So we at the DLNR, Forestry and Wildlife, our branch is tasked with trying to manage this area with Division of Forestry and Wildlife. It's about wildlife, so trying to bring back native species that are critically endangered. Also just having that diversity of species, being able to keep them around. Extinction, and everyone thinks extinction, oh, the animal is gone, so what? But our planet relies on diversity. Biodiversity is key to survival of species anywhere. You can't have just one species taking over because it's just not healthy. And so when we lose a species, then we lose a part of what keeps us viable, really. I'm part of a team. My job isn't so much in the field, but working with you know, the mechanics of it on the outside, you know, working with community, working with non-government agencies, some of our contractors. A lot of the credit to the physical part of this is a pretty tight staff that we have. We're creating partnerships as we speak. Kailua Intermediate, they would like to come in and use this as a learning center, integrated into their curriculum. So we encourage that type of creative, out-of-the-box thinking and making it easier for folks to come here. If kids know about it, they'll definitely bring it up to their parents' attention, and who knows, families might be coming, and you know, it'll be a different place, a place that it used to be a vital place for people. And we will manage the wildlife, and we'll try to you know, bring the people in, but also we have to manage them as well. And so we hope that we bring responsible use to the marsh.
In addition to the life-giving fresh water it provides, one of the major concerns about the health of Kawainui Marsh is that it is home to 4 of our endangered native waterbird species.
The alai ula, or mudhen, and the alai keokeo, or Hawaiian coot, are all that remain of the 11 known species of the rail family of birds, which were all present when the first Polynesians arrived.
Other endangered native waterbirds living in the marsh include the aeo, or Hawaiian stilt, and the kaloa maoli, or Hawaiian duck.
Natural wetland habitats and extensive Polynesian wetland systems like fish ponds and taro lo'i have been dwindling in Hawaii since the early 19th century.
These important eco-resources have gradually been replaced by housing developments, shopping centers, hotels, golf courses, military and industrial sites, landfills, highways, and industrial mono-agriculture.
We learned about the further human degradation of the marsh from introduced plants and animals and the diseases they bring. We talked about this with Cory, researcher at the Center for Conservation at UH Manoa.
It really affects water quality greatly, as I believe the landscape changes that are in the watershed. The health of the watershed really is impacted by again, things like native plants versus the introduction of invasive species. So we do see a lot of urbanization as well as introduction of invasive species have really changed, I guess, the landscape here in Hawaii, or at least in this valley or this watershed. And that really affects, I guess, the amount of water being present. Some of them, I guess, Ati mentioned earlier, like for instance, the water diversions that were created have made a lot more flow for the streams here, which also affects water quality. It's another big issue in Hawaii. The invasive aquarium fish, as well as other types of invasive fish that have been introduced here, have degraded the habitat quite a bit in our streams throughout the state. During the summer, at least there's large gaps when we have like long periods of drought, but the summer storms that come, they bring quite a bit of water to the ponds. So just like maybe about a month ago, there was no water in these ponds. So we don't have any water quality monitoring stations here that actually read real-time data to help inform managers about things they may be interested in, like thresholds for avian botulism, which is a disease that can severely affect the birds that live here, or the water birds that live here. So we try to give them alerts to when these types of thresholds for disease may be I guess, coming. It doesn't mean that there's going to be an outbreak of disease, but just to be on the lookout for sick birds, just in case they can take more action on it. But our native species are really good indicators of water quality. They're a lot more sensitive to these types of changes in things like temperature or pH or dissolved oxygen than a lot of the invasive fish that are present. So if they are present, it's usually a good indicator that they are that the water quality is good. But right now, there's not so much, especially in really heavily disturbed areas or urbanized areas throughout at least Oahu, there is a lack of these native species.
Wetlands Coordinator Ati-Jeffers Fabro is also charged with stewarding the development and implementation of the Kawainui Marsh Master Plan to improve management of the area.
Well, one of the first things we realized was we fell short on with our previous master plans is the cultural presence in Kawainui. We're really working hard to bring that back because that's an important component. but also we're looking at more public access. So briefly, this map has almost all of the components that we are basing our master plan off of. We're right around here. These are the 2 restoration pond sets. There's 11 cells in them, funded by Army Corps of Engineers, and it was completed in 2013. Right next to it is this blue strip here. This is all conceptual, but this is Kahanaiki Stream. And so this would be a more naturalized restoration where we're trying to reclaim the stream corridor. And so that means removing the vegetation. And if you saw behind me, behind us, the backdrop, it's all grass, and it's tall grass, and you can't see the stream. So we're trying to reestablish the stream. Once we can have the water work its way down, we can manage habitat from there. So we have 2 really different types of restoration side by side. So we're thinking, you know, great research material, but also finding effective ways to manage wetlands. We've gone through this master plan process and learned a lot and understand what the public expects from this, knowing that we have to make the final decisions. But so we're going to be low impact type of. We're not going to be creating concrete structures and asphalt parking lots. We're going to try to be sensitive to the land, knowing that the resource is right below it. But having public access is really important to us. We need places for buses to come in and drop off 50, 60 students at a time rather than 30 cars. We need places where an occasional person driving by might want to venture into the wetland, maybe take a walk in, and look at what it is we're doing in here, because if you don't see it, then you won't be able to support it and rally for it.
To learn more about the draft Kawainui Marsh Master Plan and see the public comments and a list of responses, go to hhf.com/Kawainui.
ThinkTech also learned about the hands-on experiential education and volunteer opportunities that DLNR regularly provides in the marsh. Kailua Intermediate School and Le Jardin Academy are 2 schools within walking distance that have become stewards of the sanctuary.
To learn about how you can become involved in supporting Kawainui Marsh, see dlnr.hawaii.gov or its community partners at ahahui.net or KailuaHawaiianCivicClub.com.
Thanks to DLNR for making today's show possible and bringing together representatives of AhahuiMalama I Lokahi, Hika'alani, and Kailua Hawaiian Civic Clubs to help us understand the marsh.
We are also indebted to these organizations for the many volunteer hours they contribute on behalf of all of us who enjoy the eco-services the marsh provides. Mahalo nui loa.
And now let's take a look at our ThinkTech calendar of events going forward.
Remember, you can watch ThinkTech on OC16 several times every week to stay current on what's happening in government and in so many communities around the state.
Remember also that ThinkTech broadcasts its daily talk shows live on the internet from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. on weekdays, and then we broadcast our earlier shows all night long, and some people listen to them all night long.
If you missed a show or you want to replay or share any of our shows, they're all archived on demand on thinktechhawaii.com and YouTube. For our audio stream, go to thinktechhawaii.com/radio.
Visit thinktechhawaii.com for our weekly calendar and live stream and YouTube links, or better yet, sign up on our email list and get the daily docket of our upcoming shows.
ThinkTech has a high-tech green screen studio at Pioneer Plaza. If you want to see it or be part of our live audience, or if you want to participate in our programs, contact me, Jay, at ThinkTechHawaii.com. Help us raise public awareness on ThinkTech.
Go ahead, give us a thumbs up on YouTube, or send us a tweet at ThinkTechHI. We'd like to know how you feel about the issues and events that affect our lives in Hawaii. We'd like to stay in touch with you, and we'd like you to stay in touch with us. Let's think together.
If you'd like to speak out on an issue or event, you can. We love the First Amendment, and we love hearing from our viewers. You can come down to our Speaker's Corner and make a video statement on the web. See ThinkTechHawaii.com.
And you can call in and join our talk shows live. While you're watching any of our shows, you can call in at 415-871-2474 and pose a question or make a comment.
And now, here's this week's ThinkTech commentary.
Aloha, my name is Annabelle Le Jeune, and this is a ThinkTech Speaker's Corner commentary. I'm a student reporter for the Conservation Impacts Through Multimedia Storytelling course at the University of Hawaii at Manoa. This is a specialty multidisciplinary course designed by two amazing UH journalism professors, Patricia Buskirk and Misa Maruyama, who both have extensive experience in media storytelling through film and journalism. This course focuses around the International Union for Conservation of Nature World Conservation Congress, which is considered the world's most diverse environmental network event. Since its beginning in 1948, the IUCN is happening for the first time in the United States, and it's happening right here in Hawaii. The greatest part about this course is the dynamic of each student and the professors. We are all of differing disciplines and backgrounds with a common passion to preserve and protect the world so that we all may be able to experience the aloha of nature. We have decided to brand ourselves Aloha Nature in an effort to reach a global audience. While the term aloha is worldwide, it has been abused and commercialized. Aloha Nature attempts to redefine aloha by helping others to love nature, by understanding that we are loved by nature, and to feel responsible for caring for nature because we are part of nature. We aim to appeal to the millennials who are now the largest living generation. Aloha Nature is teaming with the IUCN's motive to connect the disconnection that millennials aspire to go green into actually acting green. As an English and journalism student, this course caters directly to my interest in combining both journalism and world conservation. So far, I have had the opportunity to meet and interview cinematographer Paul Atkins, whose work inspired President Bush to turn part of the northwestern Hawaiian Islands into the world's largest marine national monument. I have had the pleasure of interviewing Aaron Lowe, who is Oahu's trail specialist as well. We have been filming and doing a lot of pre-production work setting up for the IUCN itself with the intention to create a multimedia platform in which we can combine text, videos, audio, photography, and social media to share our work. Aloha Nature supports the hashtag Nature for All campaign in asking their interviewees to answer with one word. Nature for you is. And my answer is biophilia, which is the instinctive bond that humans feel to nature. It's a term I learned during my biology course as a sophomore in college, and it stuck with me because I understand that bond and I want others to experience that bond as well. Aloha Nature has a social media campaign question for its audience, in which we ask, if you could ask everyone in the world to do one thing for nature, what would that be? I would ask everyone in the world to spend at least 5 undisrupted minutes in nature every day, whatever or wherever it may be, just 5 minutes. I believe that if everyone spends time in nature, they will feel that instinctive bond to nature, therefore slowly changing their lifestyle habits to better improve the health of our Earth.
We'll be right back to wrap up this week's edition of ThinkTech. But first, we want to thank our underwriters.
Okay, Elise, that wraps up this week's edition of ThinkTech. Remember, you can watch ThinkTech on OC16 several times every week. Can't get enough of it, just like Elise does. For additional times, check out oc16.tv.
For lots more ThinkTech videos and for underwriting and sponsorship opportunities on ThinkTech, visit thinktechhawaii.com. Be a guest or a host, a producer or an intern, and help us reach and have an impact on Hawaii.
Thanks so much for being part of our ThinkTech family and for supporting our open discussion of tech, energy, diversification, and globalism in Hawaii. You can watch this show throughout the week and tune in next Sunday evening for our next important weekly episode. I'm Jay Fidell.
And I'm Elise Anderson. Aloha, everyone.